Blogging fraud at NNPCL wants unexplained wealth criminalized. 2027 don't underrate Tinubu. Ribadu wants opposition. UAE bans transit visas, imposes stricter entry rules for Nigerians. 2 years later, international travel restrictions spark fresh row over absence of ambassadors. Mutual funds rise by 105 to 5.9 trillion naira in post year on higher demand yields. JACBA Canada raises minimum proof of funds to 17 million naira by immigrants. Niger attack claims 13 has 20 bandits die in Kwara. Again, 20 gunmen raid Ugwata local council kill 4. Delegates will decide who gets ADC presidential ticket, says Atiku spokesperson.
And on the Nation newspaper this morning, Nigeria's tax reform gets IMF backing. Aviation experts knocks splash of cash by state on unviable airports. Fund managing director, only 3 airports profitable. EFCC seeks law to criminalize unexplained wealth. Tinubu's reforms building on Buhari's legacy. Federal government opens talks with US over visa restriction. And away from Nigeria, International Council of Beverages Association tackles WHO on SSB tax. And that's all on the Nation newspaper this morning.
On the Punch, diplomatic tensions. FG pushes back as US, UAE tighten visa rules. Ministry begins high-stakes negotiation as officials fault US over reciprocity claim. US meeting African leaders seek Trump's support to develop resources. IMF pledges support for FIRS on tax reforms. LG poll police restrict movement in Lagos, deploy squads. Tinubu government seeking excuse to clap down on coalition ADC.
And on Vanguard newspaper this morning, 2027 don't underestimate Tinubu. Ribadu warns opposition. Federal government targeting food sufficiency through PPP. Information Minister. No one single-handedly made Buhari president in 2015, says ex-SGF boss Mustafa. Construction of Eastern Rail Line corridor begins. Immigration. Nigerians face growing visa orders in UK, US, Canada, UAE, others. 2 feared dead as gunmen attack Anambra community. Government renews push to delist labor from exclusive list. Also in Lagos local government polls, police please restrict vehicular movement for 12 hours on Saturday. And that's all on Vanguard newspaper this morning.
US visa restrictions is about reciprocating on Nigerian experts. UAE stops transit visa for Nigerians. Senate orders probe into Ponzi schemes after 1.3 trillion naira CBEX collapse. EFCC chair to lawmakers criminalize unexplained wealth or forget anti-corruption victory. Lawyers submit petition to House of Reps against NMDPRA MD 6 months after appointment. Ganduje inaugurated chair of Funds Board. 2015, nobody made Buhari president. Boss Mustafa as Gowon defends Buhari's legacy, says Buhari integrity unshaken. Even critics can't deny it. That fund threatens to delist underperforming beneficiaries institutions. The stories are all Daily Independent.
Now on Daily Trust this morning, Tinubu didn't make Buhari president, boss Mustafa. UAE reviews visa process for Nigerians, bans transit application. Plateau crisis. Reps panel invite Mutuang Lalong to security conference. Strike. FCT most third-term extension for primary schools. I will defeat Matawala Wale before 10 a.m. on election day, Zamfara governor. Federal government resumes trial of terrorists. 13 killed as bandits attacked Niger communities. 30 gunmen neutralized in Katsina. We have uncovered mind-boggling corruption in oil sector (EFCC), and that's all on the Daily Trust newspaper for this morning.
Now to Nigerian Tribune, Ponzi scheme, Senate faults weak regulatory rules by CBN stakeholders, probes loss of 1.3 trillion naira in CBEX crash, court slams 1 million euro damages against Union Bank over breach, negligence, awards 50 million naira damages in favor of Nikon Investment Limited, Union Bank heads to appeal court. Buhari's popularity won 12.5 million votes for APC in 2015. Ex-SGF Mustafa says ACN, CPC, other major parties brought 3 million votes. Buhari administration stood on pillars of integrity. Tinubu, UAE imposed fresh visa conditions on Nigerians. Bans transit visa. 2027 ADC raises the alarm, alleges plot to crack down on opposition leaders. Ex-APC National Chairman Ganduje appoints Fan Board Chairman. 3 police officers, 2 soldiers die as security forces kill 30 bandits in Katsina. Suspected bandits kill 13 in Niger community. Nigeria's oil rig count hit 46. NUPRC, or your government, procures 2 aircraft to improve security. ICPC recovers 21 billion naira from salary fraud in one investigation. False revenue declared by NNPC. Fayemi Oyebanji won't leave our party for ADC. APC.
Now to the details on our dailies this morning. On Vanguard newspaper, Senate moves to criminalize vandalism of electricity infrastructure. In Abuja, the Senate has begun moves to amend the Electricity Act 2023 to criminalize critical electricity infrastructure vandalism across the country in the face of rising wave of recurrent sabotage by vandals. When finally amended, passed and signed into law, it will help clarify ongoing transitional provisions for the transfer of intra-state electricity matters from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) to state governments, especially matters relating to operation of the national grid system and other overlapping issues.
Now to the Punch. Reps more law to compel resignation of defecting presidents and governors. The House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review is considering the amendment of the 1999 Constitution to review the grounds for the removal of the President, Vice President, governors and deputy governors, especially when they defect from the parties through which they were elected. The committee, chaired by the Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, has set a December 2025 deadline for the submission of the final draft to the House for consideration and possible adoption. The committee is set to commence a zonal tour across the country to gather input on the Constitution amendment process on Saturday, starting from the northwest cities of Kaduna and Sokoto.
From Vanguard newspaper this morning, FCTA battles scavengers, beggars, one chance syndicates others. The Minister of Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Nyesom Wike has deployed a joint task force to rid the city and satellite towns in FCT of street beggars, traders, one-chance syndicates, scavengers, and other miscreants said to be constituting social nuisance in the territory. Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media to the Minister, Lere Olayinka, who disclosed this in a statement yesterday, said the exercise, codenamed Operation Sweep Abuja for miscreants, street beggars or traders, scavengers, and other criminal elements had already commenced.
Now, President Tinubu, government seeking excuse to crack down on coalition ADC. The African Democratic Congress has accused the All Progressives Congress-led federal government of plotting to suppress legitimate opposition under the guise of national security following recent claims by a presidential aide. In a strongly worded statement on Wednesday, the party said it had no intention of undermining democracy that is solely focused on rescuing Nigeria from what is described as the irredeemable incompetence of President Bola Tinubu's administration. The party's interim national publicity secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, expressed concern over the APC's growing hostility toward dissenting voices, questioning the ruling party's apparent discomfort with opposition politics.
Still on Vanguard newspaper this morning, Peter Obi denies meeting Abacha, releases appointment letter from Junta. The presidential candidate of Labour Party LP in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, had denied meeting former head of state, the late General Sani Abacha, clarifying his relationship with late ruler. In a post yesterday, Obi released an official appointment letter from 1996 to debunk allegations that he worked for the military leader.
Yeah, on diplomatic tensions, FG pushes back as US UAE tight visa rules. The federal government has expressed concern over the recent decision by the United States to impose tighter visa restrictions on Nigerian citizens, describing the move as disproportionate, calling for reconsideration into the spirit of mutual respect and cooperation. This comes just as the United Arab Emirates imposed tougher entry conditions for Nigerian travelers, banning transit visa applications entirely. According to the new directives from Dubai Immigration, Nigerians aged 18 to 45 will no longer be eligible for tourist visas unless accompanied, while those aged 45 and above must provide a 6-month personal bank account statement showing at least $10,000 monthly balance before they are granted visas. The story is on the Punch newspaper.
Still on Vanguard newspaper, boardroom actions. Nigeria joins Global Climate Governance Network. In a move aimed at strengthening climate leadership within Nigeria's corporate boardroom, the Climate Governance Initiative (CGI) Nigeria has officially launched as the 34th chapter of the Global Climate Governance Initiative, a global network guided by the World Economic Forum to drive corporate governance reforms around climate risk and resilience. The Nigerian chapter, founded by Adepeju Adebajo, a leader in the Nigeria sustainability landscape, and chaired by Dr. Mima Bello Zage, who leads the advisory board of CGI Nigeria chapter, is expected to provide local board of directors with the knowledge, tools, and strategies needed to navigate climate-related business risks and opportunities.
LG poll, police restricts movement, deploy squads ahead of the local government elections scheduled for Saturday, July 12. The Lagos State Police Command has announced a total restriction of vehicular movement across the state from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. on election day. The directive, issued in a public statement on Wednesday, aims to ensure a secure, peaceful, and orderly electoral process across all 20 local government areas and 37 local council development areas of Lagos State. The command said the decision was made in agreement with other security and safety agencies under the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, citing the need to safeguard the election, the electorate, LASEC officials, and ad hoc staff, and electoral process. You know, you can join the conversation this morning. We'll go on a break now. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
We are your connection to the sounds that surrounds you.
And I felt like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but hit music belongs here. I got the keys to the city.
This is Vicinity FM 95.3. We are your connection to the sounds that surrounds you.
And I felt like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but hit music belongs here. I got the keys to the city.
This is Vicinity FM 95.3.
And now we will be joined by an analyst who would, be taking on some of the stories on our dailies this morning. Is the person of Dr. Awoniyi Ogundeji, lecturer at the Department of English, University of Uyo. University of Uyo. You can be saying Uyo in Akwa Ibom, University of Uyo. A beautiful morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
good morning to you, Fades.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for joining us this morning on Newspaper Review. Yeah, let me take the story on the Punch. So, ADC, ADC, the coalition, is growing momentum, and at this point, well, they have raised concerns that President Bola Tinubu's government is seeking to excuse to clamp down on the coalition, saying that it's like there's a movement there. Now they have accused the All Progressives Congress-led federal government of plotting to suppress legitimate opposition under the guise of national security, following recent claims by a presidential aide, saying that, now that they have intentions to rescue the country from the people undermining democracy. Now they are saying that there's a way they're trying to sabotage, the movement. What are your take on this?
Well, if I can understand the question posed.
That the party national publicity secretary Bolaji Abdullahi has expressed concern that APC it's developing a kind of hostility and growing hostility toward dissenting voices, like opposition voices, and questioning. Now they are questioning the ruling party's apparent discomfort with opposition politics.
Okay, if I may understand you very well, what you are trying to say is that APC, the ruling party in Nigeria currently, is trying to raise a lot of voices or hostility against
yeah, that's
APC,
the allegation
right?
by the ADC. Yes, that's the allegation.
The allegation we have received so far. I'm not surprised. And of course, I want to believe that all well-meaning Nigerians won't be surprised that such actions are being taken by the ruling party against the coalition, that is the ADC, because many have been trying to foresee and foretell that the coalition of ADC will mark the end of ruling of APC in Nigeria. And of course, Yoruba will say, so meaning that there's someone that would take a popcorn would not back the head. And of course, when you beat a child, you should not allege such a child or reprimand the child from crying. You will definitely cry. This party is gathering momentum, and of course is moving, as it has started, the coalition is likely to win because of power that be that have, gathered themselves into that very group. And it won't, APC won't find it very easy. Therefore, if they are making a lot of actions that invoke hostility against the coalition, well, I won't blame them because they are trying to cry before they are beaten. That is just it. That is what I say to it. And of course, let me say this. It is not fair if they are trying to raise a lot of things that will mar the, success of the coalition, because everybody has rights to association. We have rights to association, and once the party is registered, under the constitution of the country, they can make their own party and do what they want in this very country. And of course, the point I'm trying to raise is that APC should just find a way out to their problem,
Not
but
everybody
not
focus on their
have
own
a
issue.
face-off against the coalition. That is just it, because it is their own constitutional right to belong to an association. Once it is registered under the Constitution of Nigeria, there is no crime in that now. So it's unfair that they are hostile against that very coalition of ADC.
And now let me come to the story on Daily Independence. EFCC chair, that's the person of Olaolukoyede, has told lawmakers that they should criminalize unexplained wealth or forget anti-corruption victory. EFCC, the Economic Financial Commission, has continued, to wage the war against corruption and wealth that you cannot explain, especially when it comes to you being a public servant and you occupy a position and vacating the position. They tell you to declare your assets. We even have concerns that people really don't get to declare their assets as it is, because they know there are concerns that when you get into public office and then you leaving the office after your tenure ends, they want to be sure that you're not taking away public funds. Now the message is clear. Do you think that we are really fighting this war against corruption? Because many a times we say, people should explain their wealth, or the wealth they have, especially when we are trying to figure out if this is really your personal wealth or something that's gotten from public funds. How do you think EFCC should address this corruption in public office?
There are lots of EFCC does not address the fighting against the corruption. Like you said, that they ask the people to declare their asset before they, receive the public responsibility. They may declare their assets, have their hands soiled in the corruption, because like Emefiele, he siphoned lots of assets of Nigeria through wife, through friend of friend. Okay. Actually, the declaration of the assets before coming on board is one of it, right? But they are supposed to be a very close monitoring of those public figures, those in the public offices. There must be close monitoring. They have to monitor their relatives, even their relatives, how they are living, how are they living before such public figures had gotten into that very office. There must have been analysts, on ground for that to do such work. And after which, when they are in office, they should still monitor them, what kind of the businesses those people who are closer to them are doing. Because, we are becoming wiser every day. And that is why they are likely not to siphon the collective or public assets of Nigeria through their own personal name, but they can use another person to claim these very collective words from our treasury. And of course, that is why I said that they have to monitor them. I mean, monitors the public figures in the office, and at the same time, monitor those who are closer to them, even those who are far from them, but is in one way or the other are related to the public figures. So through that, I want to believe that they can have, they can alleviate the effect of the corruption, even though it's likely not to be totally eradicated. That is one. And another thing I think they can still do is that, this world has become a global village. Through what? Through
Involving technology.
internet. So, yes, the technology. Then PFCC to ensure that they engage technology. They have to engage the technology to do the tracking. Okay? Yorùbá will say, ẹni tó bá sọ pé ọmọ tó bá sọ pé ìyá àwọn ò ní sùn, òun náà ò ní fi ojú ba oorun. So as a result, they have to ensure that they follow these public figure. They follow them, whatever, in whatever way, probably they travel abroad, they have to ensure that they do the close monitoring. So that is the point I'm making.
Now let's come to the story on diplomatic tensions. It's no news that when it comes to international community and how they address the third world country, they always take stricter action and sanctions on us. Now the UAE, United Arab Emirates, US, has proposed stricter sanctions on Nigerians visiting the country. And federal government has expressed concern over the recent decision by these countries, imposing tighter visa restrictions on Nigerian citizens. And they say that there should be a reconsideration in the spirit of mutual respect and cooperation. We know we are part of some of these international bodies. We attend summits. The president was even attended the BRICS summit just recently, and all of this. But when we get to see, our leaders, attend this summit and all of that, they get to represent and be part of, this international community. But at the end of the day, do you think they really give us that mutual respect? And then we say we're seeking collaboration or partnership. When it gets to, some diplomatic relations, we really don't have that, closely knitted, understanding with these nations, given all of these stricter restrictions here and there, imposed on Nigerian citizens. How do you feel about this?
Well, I feel so bad about it. I feel it because we are one, and at the same time, it is blood running in our vein, in the vein of the white or black. So we have blood running in our, irrespective of the race, the complexion, the color, or whatever. I feel so bad about that the diplomatic relation is not that there, and the restriction imposed on us. But let me tell us that do you know that we are the core? We in Nigeria are the cause. Because
Sorry, we apologize for that.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, we're here with you.
Okay. Now, what I was saying was that we are the cause. We caused how they were treating us. You know, as bad as we have been treated outside the country, we are the cause because number one, if Nigeria is to the level that they also beg before they come, they enter into our country, it wouldn't have been that because they will give us our own maximum respect too. But what will they come and do here in Nigeria? So that is where the reason I'm saying that we are the cause lies. Because our own, you know, many of our people, the mentalities that they nurse now is that they should run away from Nigeria to abroad. Okay, like I've overheard when you are making the review in the other time that anybody that will go abroad will have, I think from the age of 45 and above,
Yeah, 18 to
will have
45.
a balance of
$10,000 US dollars.
$10,000 US dollars. How much is the 10,000 US dollar
Yeah,
in Nigeria naira?
converted to that's
Okay,
a lot of, that's
you know,
millions.
it's you know, big money in Nigeria. And how many of Nigerians earning such amount of money every month in Nigeria? Because it states that the balance will be what? Will be 10,000 US dollars every month. 10,000 US. How many of Nigerians can have such in account? How many of Nigerians can earn such in a month or in a year, let alone in a month? No, it's very difficult. But outside the country, to earn such an amount of money is very easier for them. And that is why Nigerians, you know, are very quick to ensure that they leave the country for their country. And as much as they have understood, you know, the motive behind leaving this very country for their own country, then they have to impose the restriction so that many of Nigeria will not just go and constitute a social nuisance in their own country. So, if they should say such, we are the cause because we are expecting the mutual respect, collaboration, but we don't enact what could have brought about the mutual respect in our home country. We have to generate it ourselves. So we need to be blamed for that.
Well, time is not on our side. I think at this point we have to go. Thank you, Dr. Awoni Ogundeji, for joining us this morning on Newspaper Review.
Thank you very much. My best regards.
Yes, have a great day.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's it on Newspaper Review this morning. I am Oluwafunke Israel. This is how we get to say bye on the show. Our producer is Mujib Olakunle. Thank you always for your support.
Yeah, it's another day, and that means another opportunity. So, and opportunities are like sunrise. If you wait too long, you miss them. So please, let's use this opportunity to make the day a better one. Be productive. So I am Aisha Ibrahim, and thanks for joining the Newspaper Review this morning.